Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. Too many of us spend our days weighed down, stressed out, worried about things we cannot control. We run ourselves into the ground trying to impress people who don't even notice, chasing after approval that never truly satisfies. And I'm here to tell you, that's the problem. You care too much about the wrong things. Too many people live their lives in a constant state of worry, carrying the weight of opinions, judgments, and expectations that were never theirs to bear. They overthink every decision, replay conversations in their minds, and stress over outcomes they cannot control. The truth is, the more you worry about things beyond your reach, the more you limit yourself. Worry is like quicksand. It pulls you in, keeps you stuck, and makes it harder to move forward. Think about how much time and energy people waste stressing about what others think. They hesitate to speak up because they fear judgment. They hold back from taking opportunities because they are scared of failure. They seek approval from people who aren't even paying attention. But here's the thing, the moment you stop caring about the noise around you, you finally start living for yourself. Imagine walking into a room full of people. If your mind is consumed by thoughts like, what do they think of me? Am I good enough? Do I fit in? You are already at a disadvantage. Your confidence takes a hit and you become more concerned with perception than presence. But when you shift your mindset, when you decide that you don't need to be liked, that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, you walk into that same room with an entirely different, you stand taller, speak with conviction, and attract the right kind of attention, not because you're seeking it, but because you've stopped seeking approval. Letting go of unnecessary worries doesn't mean being careless. It means being intentional about where you place your energy. It means recognizing what is worth your concern and what is simply a distraction. People will always have opinions, but their thoughts do not define you. The way they perceive you is their business, not yours. And no matter how much you try, you will never be able to control how others feel about you. So why waste time worrying about it? Think about the most successful people in any field. They didn't get where they are by constantly seeking approval or fearing criticism. They got there because they focused on what mattered. Their purpose, their craft, their vision. They understood that not everyone would support them, but they didn't let that stop them. They knew that doubt, judgment, and setbacks were part of the journey, but they refused to let those things dictate their action. When you stop worrying about the things you can't control, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters. Your goals become clearer, your confidence grows, you stop second-guessing yourself and start taking action. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach suddenly become possible because you are no longer holding yourself back. The truth is, life becomes much lighter when you release the unnecessary burdens you were never meant to carry. The moment you stop overthinking, stop overanalyzing, and stop letting fear dictate your choices, everything starts to fall into place. Fear is the single greatest barrier between a person and their full potential. It keeps people locked in place, hesitant to take the steps that could change their lives. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. These invisible chains hold back countless dreams. But the moment you stop caring about fear, the moment you stop giving it power over your decisions, everything begins to shift. Failure is not the enemy. In fact, it is often the best teacher. Every successful person has failed, not once, but many times. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Successful people don't let failure stop them. They understand that failure is part of the process, not the end of the journey. They take risks, make mistakes, learn, and keep moving forward. The truth is, the people who never fail are the people who never try. They stay within their comfort zones, avoiding risk at all costs, and as a result, they never grow. They live their lives wondering, what if? Watching others take the chances they were too afraid to take. But what they don't realize is that staying still is just another form of failure, one that guarantees regret. Taking risks doesn't mean being reckless. It means trusting yourself enough to step into the unknown, even when the outcome isn't certain. It means understanding that every great achievement requires some level of uncertainty. No one can predict the future, but those who succeed are the ones who move forward despite the unknown. They don't let the fear of what could go wrong stop them from pursuing what could go right. Rejection is another fear that holds people back. Too many people hesitate to go after what they want because they fear being told no. Well, they don't apply for the job because they don't think they're qualified. They don't start the business because they're afraid it won't work. They don't speak up because they worry about what others will say. But the truth is, rejection is not a reflection of worth. It's simply part of the process. Every rejection is a redirection, guiding you towards something better. Every no gets you closer to the right yes. The moment you stop fearing failure and rejection, the game changes. You start taking bold steps, stepping into opportunities you once thought were out of reach. You realize that fear is just an illusion, a mental barrier that loses its power the second you challenge it. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from facing it and realizing you can overcome it. Strength is built in the moments when you push through discomfort, take the risk, and keep moving forward no matter what happens. The more you face fear, the less power it has over you. When you stop caring about failure, you give yourself permission to succeed. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating your own opportunities. And that is when everything starts to fall into place. Perfection is an illusion that holds people back from reaching their true potential. It's the voice in your head that tells you to wait until everything is just right before you take action. It convinces you that if you don't have all the answers, you shouldn't even try. But the reality is, waiting for perfection is just another form of procrastination. It's fear disguised as preparation. And the longer you wait, the more opportunities pass you by. People often hesitate to start something because they believe they aren't ready. They think they need more experience, more resources, or more knowledge before they can move forward. But the truth is, no one ever feels 100% ready. The most successful people didn't start because they had everything figured out. They started despite their doubts. They understood that growth comes from action, not from waiting for the perfect conditions. Perfectionism creates unrealistic expectations that lead to frustration and self-doubt. If you constantly chase perfection, you will never feel satisfied no matter how much you accomplish. You'll always find flaws, always feel like you could have done more, and always compare yourself to an impossible standard. This mindset doesn't lead to progress, it leads to stress, hesitation, and eventually burnout. Think about how many great ideas never see the light of day because someone was too afraid to put out something less than perfect. How many dreams are delayed because someone was waiting for the right time? The truth is, the right time doesn't exist. The best time to start is now, exactly where you are, with exactly what you have. The people who achieve great things are not the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who are willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and keep going. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master started as a student. And every successful person has a history of failures that taught them valuable lessons. Progress is built through trial and error. The more you take action, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. And as you improve, you start to see results. But none of that happens if you're too afraid to start. The first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be taken. When you let go of the need for perfection, you give yourself permission to grow. You allow yourself to be a work in progress. You understand that mistakes are not failures. They are stepping stones toward mastery. Instead of fearing imperfections, you embrace them as part of the journey. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is simple. The ones who succeed are willing to start before they feel ready. They don't wait for the perfect moment because they know it will never come. Instead, they take action, adjust as they go, and improve over time. And in doing so, they create opportunities that would have never existed if they had waited for perfection. True freedom begins the moment you stop seeking validation from others and start embracing who you truly are. Too many people live their lives trapped by the expectations of society, friends, and even family. They adjust their behavior, suppress their dreams, and limit their potential just to fit into a mold that was never meant for them. But the moment you realize that your worth is not determined by someone else's approval, you unlock a level of confidence and peace that changes everything. From an early age, people are taught to look outward for acceptance. They learn to seek praise, avoid criticism, and shape their actions based on what others might think. They work tirelessly to gain approval, whether from teachers, bosses, peers, or social media. But no matter how much validation they receive, it never seems to be enough. There's always another person to impress, another standard to meet, another opinion to consider. And in the process, they lose sight of themselves. The reality is, you will never make everyone happy. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion about it. Some people will support you and others will criticize you. Some will admire you and others will doubt you. If you spend your life trying to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one, not even yourself. That's why the key to true confidence is self-acceptance. When you stop worrying about how others perceive you and start focusing on what truly matters to you, everything changes. Self-acceptance does not mean ignoring growth or self-improvement. It means recognizing your value as you are while still striving to be the best version of yourself. It means understanding that you don't need external validation to feel worthy. Your worth is not defined by your job title, your social status, or how many people approve of you. It is something that comes from within. Once you accept yourself fully, you move differently. You speak with confidence because you are no longer trying to prove yourself to anyone. You walk into any room knowing that you belong, not because someone said so, but because you believe it yourself. You stop apologizing for who you are and you start embracing your uniqueness. This shift in mindset has a powerful effect on your life. You begin to attract the right opportunities, the right people, and the right experiences. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter and start focusing on what truly brings you fulfillment. Instead of chasing validation, you start chasing purpose. Instead of seeking approval, you seek authenticity. And in doing so, you gain a sense of freedom that no amount of external validation could ever provide. At the end of the day, the only person who needs to believe in you is you. When you accept yourself fully, you stop living for the approval of others and start living for the purpose that was meant for you. And when that happens, everything in your life begins to fall into place. Success is not reserved for the most talented, the most intelligent, or the luckiest people. It belongs to those who have the boldness to chase it. Too often, people hold themselves back because they are afraid of standing out, afraid of failure, or afraid of what others might think. But the reality is, the people who make an impact, the ones who achieve their dreams, are the ones who refuse to blend in. They stop waiting for permission and start moving with purpose. Fitting in has never led anyone to greatness. Throughout history, the most successful individuals were the ones who dared to be different. They didn't conform to what was expected, they carved their own paths. They were the ones who had the courage to believe in their vision even when no one else did. They didn't wait for the world to approve of them. They went after what they wanted with conviction and persistence. Playing it safe may feel comfortable, but it won't take you where you want to go. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. When you stay in the same place, doing the same things, following the same routines, you can't grow. Growth comes from stepping into the unknown, from pushing past fear, and from embracing challenges. The most successful people understand this. They take risks. They bet on themselves and they are willing to be uncomfortable in order to reach new levels. Boldness is not about being reckless. It's about having the courage to take action despite uncertainty. It's about seeing an opportunity and seizing it, even if there's a chance you might fail. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every innovation came from someone who was willing to take a risk. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent, it's action. People often wait for the right time to chase their dreams. They think they need more experience, more knowledge, or more resources before they can take the first step. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. The people who succeed are the ones who start where they are with what they have. They don't wait for someone to tell them they're ready. They decide for themselves. Success also requires resilience. Boldness doesn't mean you won't face setbacks. It means you refuse to let those setbacks define you. The strongest people are the ones who get knocked down and get back up. They don't let failure break them. They use it as fuel to keep going. They understand that rejection is not a stop sign. It's just part of the process. When you move with purpose, when you stop hesitating, when you stop caring about whether others approve of your choices, doors start to open. Opportunities appear. Where you once saw obstacles, you start attracting the right people and the right circumstances because you are no longer holding yourself back. Boldness is the key that unlocks success, and the moment you embrace it, everything in your life begins to shift. Life has a way of aligning when you stop forcing things to happen and start allowing them to unfold naturally. Too often, people spend their time trying to control every detail, stressing over outcomes and chasing after things that may not even be meant for them. But the truth is, when you let go of unnecessary worries and trust the process, the right opportunities, people, and experiences start to appear at the right time. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means releasing the need to micromanage life. It means understanding that no matter how much you plan, there will always be things beyond your control. People who try to force success, relationships, or recognition often find themselves exhausted, frustrated, and unfulfilled. That's because they are moving from a place of desperation rather than purpose. When you stop obsessing over how things should happen and focus on what you can do right now, you create space for real growth. Think about the times in life when things seemed effortless, when the right job, the right person, or the right opportunity came at just the right moment. Those moments weren't forced, they happened naturally. This is not a coincidence. It happens because when you stop trying to control every detail, you allow things to flow as they are meant to. You become more aware of the opportunities around you because you are no longer blinded by stress and fear. When you trust yourself and the work you are putting in, life begins to respond in your favor. You start attracting the right circumstances instead of chasing after the wrong ones. You begin to move with confidence rather than anxiety. Instead of constantly questioning yourself, you develop a deep belief that what is meant for you will come. And when you operate from that mindset, you make better decisions, take smarter risks, and recognize doors that were always open but went unnoticed before. This shift in thinking is powerful. Instead of focusing on what's not working, you start focusing on what is working. Instead of worrying about what you lack, you start seeing the resources you already have. Instead of forcing things that don't fit, you make room for things that do. Life starts to feel lighter, not because there are no challenges, but because you are no longer making things harder than they need to be. The most successful people are not the ones who force everything to happen exactly as they plan. They are the ones who adapt, stay open, and keep moving forward even when things don't go their way. They understand that sometimes setbacks are just redirections, that delays are often preparing them for something better, that struggles are shaping them into the person they need to become. When you stop holding on so tightly to things that are out of your control, you allow everything to fall into place as it should. And when that happens, you realize that life has always been working in your favor. You just needed to trust the process. When you stop worrying, fearing failure, chasing perfection, seeking approval, hesitating, and forcing things, life begins to align. Success, confidence, and fulfillment come naturally when you trust the process, take bold steps, and let go of what you can't control. The moment you release resistance, everything starts falling into place.